That brings us to me. Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, wherever you are, all over the great United States and in DX land. Hey, I'm Bob, K6UDA, and welcome to the big show. Got a very cool show for you this time. Let me throw the other screen up here for a few minutes. We will be taking call-ins once we get going with our guest here. Let's see. What else did I want? Oh, you know what I did want to show you guys? My new hobby. I got a brand new hobby. And, give me a second here. Come on. Choose my file. No, I don't want to choose my file. I have it set up a different way. I'm going to kill that. I'll bring that over. Hey, my new hobby. Yep. Hey guys, it has been snowing like crazy here. And we've got, there's probably about 2 feet on the ground right now. And man, we get these, high winds. We've had like 40 to 50 mile an hour winds at times. And it blows the snow and we get drifts. Guys, this is all brand new to me. But I am enjoying it, having a good time. Something else here, we'll run back over to the big screen. And next week is first week of the year. That'll be January 3rd. And I think it's time to do the Packy One Chip Challenge. I'm going to try to bring in a very special guest to help me do this Packy One Chip Challenge. And if I could swing it, if he's not working and he works a real job, I'll have him here. Anyway, let's see. Let's get to guest number 1 here. Today, I've got with us, and I haven't even seen his product yet. I've seen it on YouTube, saw it on this show, and Josh over at Ham Radio Crash Course, he did a review of this. But today I am with Eric Anderson, AF7TQ. He is a fellow Idahoan, guys. He's owner and president of a company called PrepComm. And he is the big brains. And when I say big brain, he is a big brain guy. Much smarter than the rest of us. He is the brains behind this product called a DMX-40. It's a 40 meter CW machine. Let me juggle the thing here, and I'm going to add him in right there. And Eric, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing. Hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, I was getting a call from UPS, and I better have my wife taking it, I think. Oh, you can't. Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. She can't take it because they're going to my headphones. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, there's been a lot of trouble with shipping lately. I mean, my gosh, I should say UPS has lost packages, and we're just going nuts. But anyway, hello.
How you doing? Well, I guess you know what, that's in a way it's a quality problem. It means you're getting orders in, and it means you're.
We had orders on Christmas Day. I did not expect any orders on Christmas Day, but we got them. I was like, what's going on? Because They must have gotten a check for Christmas and decided to buy it at DMX-40. And I go back, another one purchased, I go back and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yep. Yep. So anyway, I got a few questions for you here. So, Eric, go ahead and tell us about yourself and, kind of your background, who you are, what you're all about.
Okay, well, I started off a long time ago, when in high school, got into electronics. It was, at that point it was tubes, Yeah. And I couldn't make a transistor work to save my life. And in college, I took a course where they were transitioning from tubes to transistors. And I finally learned how transistors worked. And I went home to my lab and built a one transistor amplifier, and it worked. So I've been, of course, following transistors on integrated circuits. I got involved with the Apple II very early in when it was first released, and we started a company out of college that we built multimedia control systems. That we went through the whole process of simple analog and simple digital to large scale digital to microprocessors, and then I went through college. Of course, the left the company that was basically the multimedia company was called Clearlight, and we left that and went to Apple and spent about 9 years at Apple. We were involved in digital cameras and the Apple II and Macintosh, shipped a bunch of Macintoshes. And then we were sold, our division was sold during the hard times at Apple during the 90s when their finances weren't so good. And we spun out the digital camera group, which basically had essentially invented the iPhone in a sense. And we think about what we did was the digital camera that ran applications, had an operating system, and was also a phone, but the iPhone is sort of like a phone that's also a camera. So it was kind of like the same thing with the emphasis different. A lot of the patents we were involved in were related to the iPhone. For example, when you take a picture and you look at it and then you rotate the camera, and you see the picture rotate and resize, that's actually one of my patents from around 1993 or 1994. It was filed in 1996. So, we were involved in that. And that was kind of fun. And then we left the company because we got sold. And then we stayed with that company. They shipped a bunch of cameras for Kodak, for Minolta, for some other companies, HP, I think. And then they sort of went out of business with the crash in 2000 and stayed in business as an intellectual property company. And I went off as an independent contractor. So I started a few companies, and but were not successful. And this company is so far successful. We started developing the product back about 4 years ago, and started giving out demos and so forth about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Sold some preliminary products last year, and finally started shipping our new finalized product, I think in March. So that's kind of a quick story.
Nice. Very nice. Let me blow this down just a little bit. I got to play with the audio because your mic level is a bit low over there. Let's see. Well, how long have you been a ham radio operator, and what's your background in ham radio? What do you like to do? Obviously, you're a CW guy, and I'd like to be a CW guy, but I suck. And I'm anxiously waiting to get a DMX-40, and then we'll get into the DMX-40 thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, you're wrong. I'm not a CW guy. Interestingly enough, I'll tell you why. So, when I was in Well, I remember my first experience with ham radio was when my dad bought out of what do you call it? Somebody had died and they were selling, the estate was selling all the equipment. He bought this huge 6-foot rack, which was a 1 kilowatt transmitter, and it was AM at that point. And I remember the first contact. I jumped up and hit my head on the ceiling. It was in the basement. I was so excited. So I got my license too. Dad wanted me to do CW. And of course, I got my advanced class because I was an engineer at the time. So, in school, in college. So it wasn't any problem to take the written part. But the hard part at that point was the code. And I managed to squeak by at 30 words a minute, but I was sweating bullets. I mean, and my belief was that they passed me when they shouldn't have. I mean, I just don't think I did it. I don't think I got it enough correct, but I was sweating bullets. Sending was no problem, but, I shouldn't say it was no problem. I could send, but receiving at 13 was a strain. So then my dad wanted me to get on the air, so he's there with me and, getting on the air and calling CQ, and somebody comes back, and I'm trying desperately to write down what they're saying and trying to understand, the abbreviations that are commonly used, or uncommonly used on CW, which for a newbie will totally throw you. I mean, you have no idea. You think, okay, I obviously didn't write this down right, or I didn't understand, but they're actually sending out abbreviations. And if you don't know the abbreviations, they're talking gibberish to you, right? So you're trying to follow what they're writing down, and you're getting part of it, and then they turn it back to you, and it's like, oh no, and so now you're trying to send, and then you can't remember how to spell words, and you can't remember what was I saying. Oh my gosh, what was I saying? What was that last? I was trying to figure out how to spell that word, and I forgot what I was. It was awful. By the time I got done with that one contact, I was totally sweated out. So I stuck with single sideband after that, because single sideband had come in by the time I got to that. I guess I was still on AM. Anyway, I wasn't very successful with CW. So I kept my license until early 2000s, I think, and that was because it lapsed because I didn't have any way I could set up an antenna. Every place I moved to had restrictions, and
Interesting.
telegraphed this SR2000 at MIT, and it had a big antenna up on the roof of this tall building, and that was great. Blow everybody's TV set in the building when I pushed the transmit button, but they didn't know where it was coming from. Otherwise, they would all come and kill me. But I got it when I came here to Idaho. One of my friends said, "You got to get your license again." And so I joined the ham club and went back and got my extra class. So here I am. It was probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Then I got involved in a problem I saw here in North Idaho. As you know, it's called the Redoubt, which is a place to go if you're concerned about the collapse of our country or the world, that kind of thing. And you're a prepper, okay? So if you're a prepper, that you're preparing for being able to survive if everything else goes away, the grid goes away, the internet goes away, your drugstore and your grocery store go away, to be able to survive. And I noticed that everybody in that group was using these little Baofeng handheld 2 meter and 144, 2 meter and 40, what's the other? I can't even.
70 centimeter.
Thank you.
Wow, I taught the big brain something today. I feel good about myself right now.
This is crazy.
Oh, of course. And hey, I want to say hi to Josh from the Ham Radio Crash Course, who is in the house, and to Jason from Ham Radio 2.0, also in the house, hanging out with with all the rest of my friends there. Welcome to the Monday show for those of us who don't have jobs. Okay, and Eric, back to you.
Yeah. So basically, I saw them doing this 2-meter handheld thing with the repeaters on the mountain line, and I said to them, "So you're a prepper, and you're preparing for a disaster of some sort, but you're using a repeater on the mountain, which is likely not to be there after a disaster." And they all mumbled, and they didn't really have an answer to that. And the problem was they couldn't use for lower bands HF, which doesn't require repeaters, because they didn't know the Morse code, and they didn't have any interest in learning the Morse code either. So I said to myself, how can I solve that problem? So that's where the DMX-40 came from. During this development, I ran into the problem of the MFJ decoder and everybody else's decoder, which is it wasn't reliable if you had any noise. And it was like, I basically was about to abandon the project because I said to myself, I have no interest in developing or selling a product if it doesn't work. So after about a month of scratching my head and trying different things, an idea popped into my head. I attribute that to God, by the way, because ideas don't usually pop into your head fully formed from your own thinking. You usually have to figure them out. And I tried it, and it worked the first time. It worked so well the first time. When I tried to make it work better, it always made it work worse. And it was amazing because I put it together, programmed the necessary code, and I connected it up to my IC 7300, and bam, it was decoding. It was like, it blew me away. So it was a digital, basically digital signal processing algorithm in the microprocessor that took garbage essentially, which is fell off of all the noise, and extracted out of it the signal that we wanted to decode. So that really is probably one of the hallmarks of the DMX-40, is that it has one of the best decoding capability in a real band situation where you have noise. Now where you have a situation where you have low noise, clear, strong signal, then most of the decoders out there work pretty well. But ours will still work even when there's a lot of noise. So that's kind of one of the things that happened. I didn't really understand the implications of it at the time, but that's where we are with the product. So
very, very cool. I'm gonna turn your mic down a little bit so I don't get that feedback in my ears. I don't know if the feedback is coming out over the air or if it's just in my ears. But
I'm going to turn down your volume and see if that helps. Is that any better?
Let's see. Let me go ahead and turn that up a little bit.
Test.
Well, that adds a little bit of reverb back to me when I turn it up. I usually have a set level I keep it.
Okay, well, how about that? Is that any better?
You know what? The gallery will let us know. Okay. I put the word out to these guys, and they fix all the problems on the channel. Let's go back to we'll go back to here, and let's see. That is awesome. So the inspiration for the whole DMX-40 project was the Bofang.
Yeah.
And
you got my call letters wrong. That's AF7YQ.
Oh man, I'm sorry, my dyslexia. I'll fix it.
That's okay. I didn't even notice it. My wife noticed it.
Okay, I'll definitely I'll fix it when I get back to that screen. So I guess the next logical question there is, what is the DMX-40? How does it work? Why does it work? All that good stuff. I know Josh reviewed it on his channel, and he said it was a it was a good start. It needed some work in his opinion, but I guess this is with everything is a work in progress. It's always a work in progress. And it seems like you're forever putting out all kinds of patches and updates and everything. I've been following along on the PrepComm community, and you've got a really strong community. I really like that. And you know what? Now this is bugging me. I gotta fix this right now. YQ, save it. Yay! Everything's all good with the world now. So anyway, let's hear about the DMX-40 and your whole project there.
Sure. Well, you know, it's interesting. The problem that he was having was connecting the DMX-40 to his transceiver. And one of the things that we are about to release as a new product actually is something that will help with that. And I just asked my wife to go get one. It's basically a custom cable assembly, which is going to sell for something like 25 bucks, which is all customized to plug into the DMX-40's two jacks and then plug into your transceiver, key in and headphone out, and into a secondary speaker, a power speaker. This will work with both 3.5 millimeter and quarter inch phone jack. We have two adapters that go with this. So this will simplify, let's say, the process of connecting the transceiver, our transceiver to your transceiver. And the reason people do that is to increase their power. You know, let's say they have 100 watts instead of a couple of watts, and they also want to, of course, use the decoder in the DMX-40 to improve their decoding, or to either check their own mental decoding to make sure that they're doing it right, or to assist them with higher speeds than they can go, whatever. There's lots of different reasons people do that. So that's a new product that's going to be on the website, you know, when I get around to it. We have them all in stock. They just came in all ready to go. But getting them on the website means I have to go on and do that. Anyway, so the DMX-40, which is right here, there we go. I guess you can see it. This is without the case. So in the back you can see that it consists of a bunch of electronics. That's what it looks like from the inside. So
okay.
You can see the top board there is the transceiver board, and the other board that everything is mounted on underneath is the main board. And if you look really carefully between there, you'll see the LCD board. So there's three boards: LCD board, a transceiver board, and computer board. There's three computer chips on here, and that makes it very interesting. Multi-processing, essentially.
Excellent.
So, you know, we chose 40 meters as our first target because of the length of an antenna. I would rather done 80. I'm an old 80-meter guy. I'm a rag chewer type. That's what I like to do, is talk to people. I'm not all that interested in contests or things like that. I like talking to people. So 80 meters is really great for that. 40 meters is also pretty good for that, but not as good as 80. But an 80-meter antenna is so long that, you know, for taking this out, you know, in the backwoods or up on a mountaintop and trying to do an 80-meter antenna is kind of harder to do than with 40. So that's why we chose 40. You know, it took us a long time to develop this. It's actually got two Arduino chips in it, plus an ARM chip, which does the graphics on the screen. So it's a touch screen, color touch screen. So you use both either touching the screen for commands or you use the keyboard. It's only got a few watts out, like 2 to 3 watts output. We bought there. Okay, there you are.
That's
And
you know what? That's just this. I think this place is haunted. That's what I think. Back to you.
okay. Anyway, there's a lot of unique features in this product that aren't in any other transceiver I know of. One of them is that it does, you enter your license and it then restricts your, that's my wife in the background, by the way.
Hi,
It
wife.
restricts your uh, um, transmission so you don't make a mistake and go outside your allowed frequencies. It has a little LED here on the front panel called the enable LED, which is basically if it's lit, that means you can transmit here. It also does beyond the ham band, of course, for shortwave listening. In fact, the best way to calibrate it is going to 10 megahertz WWV or 5 megahertz if whichever one is coming in at the time. So you can calibrate it. There's a VFO calibration function on the main menu. It has a very powerful built-in microprogramming language we call RPL,
Mm-hmm.
which stands for rig programming language, basically. And that allows you to assign on all your function keys different kinds of things that you want to do to change how the unit works. It comes with a standard functionality, which are basically built-in microprograms for calling stations, either a general call or a call to a specific station, and answering, checking to see if you can be heard by the other person first, and then the second level is actually talking back and forth. That's an answer function. Those are built in, but you can do things, that's not going to work for an advanced ham who wants to, for example, do contests or be a net control or whatever. So then you could create your own set of functions using function keys and actuate the transmitter using those instead of the built-in functions. Or you can even copy the built-in functions and modify them. We actually have them in the manual, so you can see how we did it, what we did. Excuse me.
Very,
There's
very cool.
a number of other.
I am getting excited to see one. I know you guys have had you've had some issues. Let me get the right camera. There we go. Wow. Okay. I told you this place is haunted. It just does whatever it wants, whenever it wants. I know you guys have had in the past couple of months, you had a little bout with COVID and that slowed you down.
Oh boy, it's funny, that we were shut down the entire month of October, which was roughly the same month that other review happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a huge pile of orders, which was great, and we couldn't, but we were in bed. We didn't even, we were totally unaware. We were just kind of like, I almost didn't make it through there. It was a fortunate set of coincidences that got my wife into getting an oximeter and discovering that my oxygen level was really bad, and so I got on oxygen. So my lungs still not have recovered. But we decided to restart the company manufacturing on November 4th. Had a hard restart after being shut down. I think it was for, it was more like 7 weeks. Part of September and all the way up to October 4th. And so everybody had forgotten how everything worked, and including me to some extent, especially it was really a COVID fog. I mean, thinking straight was hard. And I couldn't even remember, one of my assemblers couldn't get the proper adjustment on that main PC board for the tone frequency. And so I went in there and tried to adjust. I tried to get the counter timer to work, and I couldn't remember how the counter timer worked. We did get it figured out, but I mean, it was just showed how much the impact of COVID on your brain is, and it's still. I feel like I don't remember stuff like I used to. I mean, I'll forget stuff that I used to remember, so that's kind of concerning. But we did get it started, and we did pay. Everybody that had orders waiting would email me or call me. I even got a call from Greece,
Wow.
and two calls actually from Greece. And they, when I explained the situation, they all said, "Okay, we'll wait and don't hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we'll be praying for you. Whatever." And we didn't lose a single order, in spite of the fact that we really were probably almost. Some of the orders probably were 2 months late. They
That's
were
awesome.
okay with that because they knew what was
That is
going on and they
a
ordered it.
testament to our hobby. I mean, people
Yes.
are more they're more concerned with your health and your well-being than getting their product.
Yeah, it was amazing. I had some incredible conversations on the phone. I have some really good friends now that one guy is in North Alaska. I mean, it's like, it's incredible. So we were able to fill all those orders, and here we are. We basically have filled all the orders except the ones that came in on Christmas Day. We have to ship. We have a bunch to ship out today, this afternoon, that we finished on Friday, or yeah, Friday afternoon. It was too late to ship them because it was Christmas Eve. But they'll be going out today. That will finish everything for this year except for anything from Christmas Day on. And so we're all caught up pretty much, which is good. And we like to be, our normal mode of operation is to have a stack of units ready to go out, all pre-boxed. And so all you have to do is close the box, put the tape on, put the label on, and ship them out. So that's how we like to operate, but we're not there at this moment, but we're close. We expect to be there within a few weeks. So that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, it's been rough. It impacted us very, very badly, but we survived,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still back. We're back close to where we were in terms of effectiveness. But we have other issues. The supply line problems are really severe. The cost increases are horrible. I mean, we're paying twice as much now for printed circuit boards, and they don't work. I mean, they got bad parts on them,
Ooh.
which is 30% of the last shipment of the boards need rework.
Wow.
30%.
Now, are
Uh,
you now because I'm taking kind of this year on this live show, and I'm talking with the creators like you, the small ham radio creators, and and so and it's about business. It's about your businesses. So I don't feel bad about asking these kinds of questions. Do you have like a certain manufacturer in China or something that you were going through to get your boards built, or is this all done here in the US, or is it just a component level issue?
well, it's a component level issue. About let's see, in October. No, obviously it wasn't October. See, it must have been September. In September, when I was ordering the boards, we do what's called turnkey, which means the boards are complete and ready to use when we get them. They are not tested because we have proprietary software and we don't want to release that to anybody for obvious reasons. Um, One of the key parts in our system is a digital frequency synthesizer chip, which used to sell for about $1, around $1 approximately in the quantity that we used. Well, guess what? The company that made them, well, we had placed an order for PC boards for about 3 months. So we're ready to place an order for PC boards, and they came back with this horrendously high price. And it turned out it was for this part. They were charging $15 for the part. That was only one of the issues, but that was one of them. And so we asked them what was going on, and they said, well, we don't know if we can even get the part, even at $15. And so I called I checked with the US suppliers like DigiKey and Mouser and others, and they all told me 24 months, 12 to 24 months delivery time. So
Wow.
I found out that the company that was making them got bought by a Chinese company, And
Mm-hmm.
they shut it down in the United States, and they moved stuff to China. Probably it was on a ship somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Or maybe the ship
Unbelievable.
that was going to be shipping the stuff was stuck out there because it hadn't gotten in yet. Who knows? Anyway, they hadn't set up the company yet in China to make the chips, and they didn't expect that they would be ready to deliver product until next September, in 2022. And I was looking at shutting down the company. I mean, I didn't have any part. I couldn't that part. There isn't anything else on the market that you can replace it with. It's kind of like, I don't think of it as the essential chip until then. You couldn't get it, and I realized, oh, ooh, that's like that chip. There isn't anything else.
Wow.
Most of the chips you can find substitutes, but not that. So I asked for help from the China supplier,
Mm-hmm.
and he went out and found a company that had 1,000, but they were at $6.50, which is 6 times more expensive. But they had them, and they said, you need to either tell me you're going to buy them today, or because tomorrow I don't know if they'll have them or what the price will be, because this part is disappearing very quickly out there. So I made the decision to buy them at $6.50. So I
Oh,
have a
hey,
thousand parts
you're still
to
in
make a
business.
thousand DMX-40s essentially,
Yeah.
or other products like it, and
Well,
sitting in inventory. And the same thing is true with other parts. There's other parts I have half of my inventory, thousands of dollars of inventory sitting in China, because if I didn't buy it, I would be out of luck. So that's how bad things are. And so it has increased my cost of operating uh, pretty severely. But
mm-hmm.
yes, I do buy turnkey boards. I have the cabinets printed in Texas. Um, the LCD panels are manufactured in China. The reason I have Made in USA on the website is because all that stuff is worthless unless you have the software. The key thing that puts that whole thing together is the software. We, of course, wrote the software. We designed the circuits. And if you look at the cost of everything, the cost of the boards and the cost of the components is small compared to the value of the product.
Mm-hmm.
The value of the product is there because of the software. So there's probably 85% or 75 to 85%, I forgot the number, of the product's value is put in at the factory and put together at the factory. And of course, the cabinet is US made as well. And there's other things that are US made, but that's kind of the formula. And there's some rule, I forgot what it is, about what percentage you have to be to say made in USA, but we make that because of the fact that without that software, the board is worth what the components cost is. That's all it's worth. And of course, so that's not very high actually, although now it's getting a lot higher.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you guys do the assembly here in Idaho, right?
Yes.
So it's you're buying the components, and I guess everybody, even the Japanese, are buying components from China.
Well,
And
the problem is you can't get the parts anywhere else.
yeah.
You cannot get the parts anywhere else. We don't make them in the United States anymore. Sometimes you can get them made in Mexico. You can get them, actually the parts we get, or some of them are made by Samsung, which is a South Korea company, but
Mm-hmm.
they're made in China. Uh, all the companies that make parts make them in China because it's cheaper. Sometimes they made them in Thailand or something, but generally speaking, electronic parts are made in China. However, the microprocessors are made in the United States and shipped to China. So I pay the import duty on the microprocessors because they're U.S. made, but it's worth doing that because the cost of trying to have all those parts imported and import all those parts to the United States, have the board built in the United States
Mm-hmm.
at labor costs here is way much higher than the cost of importing the microprocessor. So it's a difficult world. I mean, it's it's our own fault for allowing this to happen, but we don't make anything anymore.
Yeah.
All except for, and even those chips really aren't made in the United States. I mean, Intel chips are made, I think they have factories in the United States. TI still has chip manufacturing. So we buy some TI chips. They're made in Texas and they send them over to China to put in our product and that kind of stuff. So there's a number of chips, the more expensive chips in our product are actually made in the United States and then shipped to China to be assembled into our boards. So it's a complicated situation, but in general, the the situation that we face is if we wanted to make it, because we could have the board manufactured here, and we could have it as the assembly of the board done here, but it would cost, it would make we'd have to sell the DMX-40 for a much higher price, which I don't think would work. And of course, what does all the other companies do? What is the IC 7300? Where is that made? It's not made in the United States.
No, no, it's, I think a lot of parts are made in China and it's assembled in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like what we're doing, essentially. So,
Yeah.
but we do have, there is actually a fair amount, $25, $30 worth of stuff that's US made. And, in their chips and stuff in the cabinet and so forth. So it's a combination. And of course the software, so.
Yeah. Let's see, hang on here. Currently 41 people in the gallery, got 25 thumbs up. Hey, smash that like button if you want to see more content like this. And I thank you guys. Let's bring back Eric here. And let's see. Okay, you were saying that the DMX-40 is kind of locked in to different frequencies or different parts of the band based on your license class. So
only the
excuse me? Just the transmitter.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is it locked into one frequency to transmit on, or can I, when I get one, can I move frequencies? Can I say like, okay, I want to operate on 7.023 or 035? Can I pick?
Okay. What license level do you have?
I'm an extra.
Okay, so extra means that you can tune the entire band with no restrictions. And if you had let's say you had a technician class, which was the default, without you changing it, then you can tune the whole band, but only from 7.025 to 7.125 does the green light come on, which enables the transmitter. But any place else you can listen.
Okay.
Now, of course, you could lie and tell that you have an extra class license when you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, in an emergency situation, let's say you do have, if you're talking to preppers, when you're talking to a prepper, what I tell them is, well, in an emergency situation, it doesn't, I mean, who's going to be sitting there saying you can't transmit on this frequency if you need to transmit on a frequency that isn't allowed by your license, but but the transmitter can do it, and you need to talk to somebody, then lie to it, tell it you got, a license you don't have because you're in an emergency situation, life and death. You need to, if that's what you need to do, you do it.
Yeah.
But otherwise that's illegal. Don't do it.
Right.
But in an emergency situation, there are things you can do. You don't let a stupid license limitation keep you from saving somebody's life, right? That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so basically the only purpose of that is to provide protection for people who aren't paying attention, because you can go up and down the band very easily. I mean, on a normal unit, you turn a knob, you can turn a knob and go right past the end of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, modern units, they won't let you transmit beyond, like my 7300 makes a little beep when you get to the end of the band, and then it won't allow you to transmit. So the only thing we've done is we've added license levels to that.
Okay. And that license level, is that done? Do you tell it, hey, I'm a tech, a general, or an extra, or does it look up your license and figure it out itself? I don't know.
What it does, when you first get the unit, you can't transmit at all.
Okay.
If you try to transmit, it'll say, please do, I forgot what the message, but something like, requires a local station setup.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the main menu, one of the items on the main menu is local station setup. So you go through that, and you enter in your call letters, you enter in your name, your location, your transmitter, your rig, which would be either the DMX-40, or it would be, if you're connecting it to your IC7300, then it'd be the IC7300, and your antenna.
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain why you're entering all that stuff in a minute. And the last item you enter is, you have a selection of, I think, 4, technician, general, advanced, and extra. So you select one of those, and that's how you do it, and you're done. And now you have the station set up, local station is set up. Now you can transmit because it knows your call letters. See, when you call CQ, it has to know your call letters, right? CQ, CQ,
Right.
CQ, CQ, DE, what?
Yeah.
And why do you put the name and all the other stuff in? Well, one of the built-in microprograms is a text string, which is what you normally share about your, when you meet a new person. It's like,
I think they call that the brag.
yeah, my name is whatever, my location is X, or my QTH is X. I'm using, whatever, IC7300 with a dipole,
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of stuff you normally share. So now that's automated. You just hit one button on the keyboard and bam, it does that all for you. That's just one of the built-in ones, so you don't have to do that and use, it could just use that single key. Anytime you're typing, you can just hit that key. I think it's a tilde key on the keyboard, and it'll do that entire string of characters, which includes the stuff you put in. So that's what that local station setup does, but it also includes your license level.
Very, very cool. Boy, I wish I had one here, then I could ask you more intelligent questions. But
So the other menu item that's kind of interesting. This is true for for the microprograms. You have a key on the keyboard. Well, when you go to the menu and select microprograms, you have 3 screens because the microprograms can be pretty long. So you have 3 screens. Each one has 5. Actually, the first 2 have 5, and the last one has 2 microprograms on them. And it shows you, it gives you the number on the left, the actual first part of whatever the microprogram is. It doesn't show you the whole thing because it's too long. And then an edit button. Okay, so when you hit the edit button, you go to the editor where you can type in whatever it is. I think it's a 60 character limit. And then once you've done that, you go back to that screen, you'll see the microprogram. Now, you can get to that screen, those microprograms, just by hitting the M key on the keyboard instead of going through the menu and having to hit 2 things on the touchscreen. You just hit M, and the first screen pops up. Now, if there's microprograms there, you can just touch one and it executes it rather than having to go and get rid of the screen and then hit the function key. So it's a lot of simple things like that. And the same thing is true with the frequency memories. You can go in there from the menu or with the F key for frequencies. Okay. And it shows you the screen. You can then edit one or just touch one. I mean, I use it because I can't remember which function key, or which number key, I should say, I used which frequency for. So I usually like to have WWV on there, the QRP calling frequency 7.03 on there, and some other things, other nets and stuff. But I don't remember which one is which sometimes, so I'll just hit F and then touch the one I want, and bam, I'm there. So it's a very easy to use system from that point of view. It has
Okay.
10 frequency memories.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, as far as the CW tutor part of it, which is pretty much the big reason why I really am excited about this, is another chance to learn CW. And that's something that I've wanted to do for a long, long time. But I also know that I don't have a lot of time to throw into it. I don't have an hour a day or 2 hours a day to practice. It just isn't going to happen. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life. I would like to get at least contest proficient where I can understand, I can hear certain things in CW now, and just by the sound of it, I can tell somebody's calling CQ. I can tell somebody's making an exchange, a simple exchange. But I have big issues when people start putting out call signs, especially things that I'm not used to hearing. If I hear like an 8 call or a 0 call or something, I lose it. I'm done. I can hear a 6 call. I can hear, and maybe part of a 6 call because I know what a 6 sounds like. And that's kind of where I'm hoping that the DMX-40 is good enough that, it can be also listening when I'm on 40 meters or 20 meters, and it can check me, number one, but help me out so I can do things like a contest, because I'm a contester.
Okay.
And make things go fast. I would love to have a good keyer that, boom, just type in, serial and be done. But I also need to, be able to pick out those calls, especially DX stuff. If it doesn't start with a K or an N, I'm done.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, there's two levels there. I mean, learning CW is not the same thing as doing really good in contests. So let me explain the difference. Okay. So learning CW, or learning it enough to be able to pick out a lot of the code, and is one of the things that you can do with the DMX-40 pretty well. There's two aspects of learning. There's the decoding part, and there's the encoding part, or sending. Receiving and sending. One of the ways of the way that we recommend learning is through cognitive association. A cognitive association is very simple. You hear it and you see it on the screen. And if you do that enough, you listen as you tune in, and then you get the station centered, and you get the decoder started, restarted, and then you watch the screen as it is sending. Okay, you hear it, and then you see it pop up. You hear it, see it pop up, hear it, see it pop up. That begins to get into your brain, and it's sort of like an easy learning system, because you're not really focused on learning. You're just you're just letting the decoder work, and but you're actively listening. I mean, you can sit there and ignore the sounds and just look at the screen, and then send your response on the keyboard. But if you want to learn the code, then you listen to the sound as you're watching the screen, and that is called a cognitive association. It's a slow learning process. It doesn't happen instantly, but you do learn. The other one is using a straight key. We don't support at this point the paddles or iambic keyers. You can have an external keyer and plug it in to our key in jack, but we don't support iambic or paddle keyers. A key, we don't have a built-in keyer for that kind of key at this point. But you can, like I said, you can use an external keyer.
Okay.
So when you use it, when you key in receive mode, it feeds your keying into the receiver as if it was coming in over the air. Now, of course, you want to be careful. You want to make sure nothing's coming in over the air at the same time. But either by disconnecting the antenna or just tuning somewhere where there's nothing. And then what you're doing is you're actually having the decoder, in a sense, become a judge of your sending. And it's interesting
nice.
because you get surprises. Like when I tried that the first time, I was just setting something simple: CQ, 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 DE, AF7YQ, AF7YQ, K. That was, the standard. And they were all the CQs were run together. I mean, there were CQs, no spaces between the CQs. And I realized, oh, I'm not waiting long enough between between words, as it were. Think of the CQ as a word. And I had to work at getting my spacing right because, when you have words run on, one of the things I notice when I watch the sending of people is that they have too much time in the middle of words, so it actually separates it into two words, or they have not enough time between words, so that you have run-on words, and that makes it really tough, both for the decoder, even for reading the text, let alone trying to figure it out on the fly with your brain. Now, your brain is pretty good. It's better than any decoder, actually, if you know the code really well. But for a newbie, it's very confusing. When having broad-time code is pretty important. So using the key into the decoder and practicing sending will get you to tighten up on your timing. Now, the other thing for contests, you want to be able to go really fast and peppy. Okay, you don't want any kind of anything at all to slow you down. So that's where the microprograms come in. You have one microprogram that you press, say F1, which does whatever your standard call for looking for a station to answer, which is typically your call sign and a code, whatever the current contest is. Just very short. You just press a button, it goes to transmit mode, spits that out, and comes back to receive mode. Now, when you receive, because they don't typically use our automatic call sign detector, as it were, built into the unit, assumes that you're using a fairly standard back and forth, which is your call sign DE, a call sign, right? So it picks that up and actually loads their call sign automatically. If they use DE, if they say DE, their call sign. A lot of times they don't do that in a contest, but if they did, you would see their call sign appear automatically on the screen, which is very nice. But unfortunately, I don't think a lot of contest people do that. So you have to look at what they put on, but the code, the call sign that they do is right on your screen, even though it's not in the automatic box, right? But you don't need the automatic box anyway, because what you're going to do, you're going to have to send back to them what their call sign is. And unfortunately, you can't automate that because it doesn't get loaded because they didn't use DE. But you can automate whatever you transmit to make your calls, and then when you have another button of 2, which just turns on the transmitter, and then you type whatever a real short message you want to send back, and then hit F2 again, and you're done.
And you type that on a regular
they,
keyboard, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a very simple. So you design or you build your micro programs for that particular situation, and then when you're done with it, you clear them and put something else in. So, or for your standard operation. So, or you can have maybe you have enough. A few enough of them that you can get them all in the function key, so you don't have to delete them. But that's kind of how that would work.
Okay. Got a question from the gallery here. What's the price? How much?
The price is $349, unless it's on sale. Sometimes we have sales for like shows. A show coming up. Mm-hmm. It's what is it called? What's the name of it?
Is it QSO today?
Yeah, the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo, which is coming up in March, I think it is. And mm-hmm. There's also one in, I think it's September or August. And we're there with the booth, and there's usually a sale. So you might get 10% off. For example, was the last sale we had on the last show. So that's one show you go to get a discount. We'll be introducing some exciting new products between now and then, and so we'll be having that there as well. Last year, at the August QSO Today event, mm-hmm. we had a drawing for a free DMX-40. We had 380 some people fill out the questionnaire. It was pretty amazing. And it was a long questionnaire. We had a couple of grumbles of people that said, "Why do I have to fill this out to just sign up for a free drawing?" It's like, well, because we're collecting information. And we learned a lot of very interesting information from that drawing, which has helped us target how we're going to do our next product. So I think everybody will be very happy with what we come out with next.
Very cool. Another question: where can we buy it? And I'm going to put your website up here, and I'll link that in the description after we're done. But it's http prep 2ps comm.com, I think, and boom. Is it on? No.
That's
there it is.
PrepComm.com. Yeah, you don't really need the HTTP, of course. You just can type PrepComm.com.
Okay, PrepComm.com is where you buy them. And wow, Eric, thank you so much for being on the show, talking about the DMX-40 and basically the business of ham radio as a manufacturer. That is so cool. I really want to thank you. I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on one of these things. And,
yeah, if you look at the website now on the DMX-40 page, you'll notice a little note right at the beginning of the description. Mm-hmm. It says that the latest version of the DMX-40, which has just been released. In fact, the units that we shipped just recently are included in that. It has a increased receiver sensitivity of approximately 8 dB, which is pretty significant increase in sensitivity. So I just thought I might mention that to you, that the one that you will be getting will have that, of course, in it. So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Pick out weaker signals.
Okay. Eric, just hang on the line here, and I'm going to go ahead and do the closeout for the show here. And I'm going to bring that level down. And guys, thank you so much again for joining us for another edition of Lunch and Ham Radio. Remember, next Monday is the beginning of the year. And I think I'm going to do the Packy Challenge. We are so close. I mean, like a gnat's hair away from 38,000 subscribers. I want to thank you guys for that. I know compared to Josh and Jason, it's nothing. It's small potatoes, but it is nonetheless a pretty big accomplishment. So with that, my friends, thank you for joining me. I am working on a 705 video at this moment. 705, hooking it up with the Elecraft amp, how to make it all work, how simple it is to make yourself basically a full-size 705, putting out 100 watts. It works really, really cool. Anyway, my friends, hit the music, and that cues me to say 7-3 until next week, and until you see my next video. I'm